Can I just say something? I love you, and I'm prefacing this by no. I love you. I think I think you're bright. I think you're funny. I don't get a chance to talk to you outside of this.
This is fantastic. I love you too.
No, I really do.
I really do too.
In fact, so much so that I'll get back to this because I jump all over the place. But in the last couple of months, and I know you don't. I'm not bringing up anything you do on your other show, but you have referenced me. And you always say...
Many times.
Yes, and you reference me
and in my special.
Right. And we don't want to raise a bunch of Howie Mandels.
Correct.
Can I just say something?
Yes.
I took that like a badge of honor. I was so moved and I loved it.
The first time
Okay.
The first time I referenced you was early in the pandemic.
Right.
And it was much more involved, but it was the same premise that... But it was so respectful to you because, I have proof that I love you because it's on tape and you could see it. And I remember it was like, you know Howie Mandel. We all know Howie. We all love Howie.
Right.
I said that.
But I don't take it
I know. And then I said, by his own admission, and I quoted you.
Right.
Saying, I wouldn't wish this, whatever the quote was, because I know it is a burden.
This is a fucking burden. And
right.
I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy.
Right. So
And you're a very smart guy who knows what he's saying. That was not a slip of the tongue. And I'm glad you've mentioned it many times. But every time you mention it, I get a barrage.
Oh.
And I don't know if you get the same thing. I get a barrage on social media. Do you know what the fuck he said about you? Do you know he's putting you... Like, it's so
well, you can't...
interpreted.
Right.
As far as, like, he's making fun of your mental health.
I don't do the show or say the things I say for the benefit of slow people who can't follow interesting conversation. I just don't. That's why we're here at Club Random. We don't have dummies here, and I can't stop the dummies from commenting.
Well, I wanted to come here to tell you that I love what you do. I watch everything that you do.
Thank you.
And I did not expect. You've never invited me over. You've never invited me.
This sounds like the beginning of The Godfather.
No, but look at this place.
In all the years, you never asked me to come for coffee, and now you come here on the day of my daughter's wedding.
You do impressions. I remember watching your stand-up. You do impressions.
That is not justice.
Can I just say something?
You're moved.
That's a talent. If I had a golden buzzer, I would send you on to the next.
It's not that good.
Next. I'll take you to Hollywood. You're going to Hollywood.
I must say, pursuant to this theme that we've struck out on, this little endeavor of sitting here and doing this podcast has been the number one reason of wonderfulness is because there are so many people, not so many, but Dr. Drew was here, Adam Carolla, Mike, people who I like, and I'm not young anymore. I've known them a long time, like I've known you a long time, and I never really knew them. And in an hour, I feel like we took our relationship from nice to here. Oh, I know this person. You know?
Right, and you could talk about anything.
And that's why I wanted you here. I wouldn't invite someone here who I didn't feel that way about.
But I got to tell you,
this is not a place where you're gonna, I'm a recluse. It's not an interview. It's not a.
No, it's just hanging, and I love this.
Yes.
See, I'm a recluse. I am. I don't know that people know that about me.
Well, they would infer that from the disease.
Right. But
you're not going to be at Coachella.
No, I've never gone. I have no desire to go. It doesn't even sound like fun.
Not going to body surf.
Nothing.
Not going to surf.
No, I don't want to touch things. The point is, that's why I was scared being here. I didn't know. I thought this
so don't pass the joint.
No, I'm sober right now.
I mean the clove.
No, I was a big smoker.
Oh, really?
Yes. So I'll tell you that. I'm halfway through 3 stories, and I haven't said anything. But that's okay. I am.
Welcome to Club Random.
COVID fucked me up royally. And because of, you don't want to be Howie Mandel's. And my panacea was, you're holding it. I was smoking a lot.
That's my brand, Panacea.
Yes. But I smoked a lot. I can't do anything in moderation.
Is that right?
Nothing. So if I smoke, I have to smoke till I'm not conscious. And if I can't get enough pot till I'm not conscious, I would take a drink. And then if there wasn't enough to drink, I would eat like 7 gummies. And if I'm not, until I was,
I can do virtually everything in moderation.
Really?
Yes.
What makes
I'm just a careful type of person who doesn't like to induce pain or things that could make me unhappy in my life. So I
But
feel
sometimes I'm unhappy and I don't want pain or anything, so to be numb or unconscious is an easier place to be, right?
Can I ease your mind?
If you can, you'd be a miracle worker. I'm a mess.
Spare a minute to ease your mind.
Go ahead. Wouldn't it be weird if, like, I'm going to be 67 this year?
Me too. Next
55?
year.
Were you born in 55?
56, January.
I'm born in 55.
What month?
November.
So we're 2 months apart.
We're 2 months apart. But wouldn't it be
We
weird?
could have almost crawled out of the same womb.
Yes.
Thank God we didn't. That poor woman for 2 months.
Yes. I don't want to share a pussy with you. But the point that I'm making is that for 66 years I have suffered, and I'm medicated, and I go to therapy, and I've talked to psychiatrists. Wouldn't it be weird if I was totally cured, like right now on your podcast, by you?
Well, now that we've built it up this way, I realize it's really not that impressive, but it's kind of impressive.
What were you going to say?
The Queen,
Of England?
96.
Yes.
She beat it.
She what?
COVID.
Well, it's not the fear of COVID.
Oh.
It's not the fear. It's the fear. Well, it was, you see, I have fear of just getting, I got COVID, by the way. And I'm here.
Everyone has COVID.
Yeah. This is my
It's a
second
virus.
day. This is the second day I have been negative. I was
Great.
I was testing positive.
And you kept the booking.
And
What a man of honor.
Yeah. But I was positive for like 3 weeks, but I wasn't that sick.
But just recently.
Yeah.
Right. Because
It's not that. I
Okay,
don't
good.
like, so OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, is just this, when you are cognizant of the fact that your thoughts and your fears are not making sense, but you can't stop that thought or that fear, and it becomes repetitive, so much so that it stops your life. See, I know that shaking somebody's hand.
Right. It's a kind of exquisite torture when one half of your brain knows something, but the other half can't follow it, right?
Or can follow it, but you can't do anything about it. Like, I can say in the midst of any of these things, I can go, this is fucking nuts. And that drives you. I understand, I've used this analogy before, but Howard Hughes was a...
Yes. I brought him up in that same editorial where I brought you up.
Right, was a very intelligent man who ended his final years alone in a room, naked, pissing into bottles.
Right.
I can't tell you how close I am to that every waking moment of my life. And the thing about it was, one of the many things that I talk about, and I have throughout the years, is germophobia is not the biggest issue I have. It is repetitive thoughts and rituals and things that just stop me. But sometimes, like anybody else, if you shake somebody's hand and you feel it's a little bit, so you go, oh, it's a little clammy. And then you can move on in your life. I go, it's a little bit clammy, and I go, I'm going to go wash my hands. And then I go wash my hands, and I go, I don't think I got everything. And then I got to go back, and I go back, and I go back, and I could spend hours and at the same time, simultaneously, I'm going, are you fucking nuts? Nothing's going to happen to you, Howie. And even if you did get a cold from this person, what the fuck are you going to do? Get out of the bathroom, stop screaming at everybody, stop locking yourself away, and I don't have the power to stop myself. And therein lies the rub.
Yeah, that's kind of a torture.
So what happened during COVID was there was some comfort in, everybody making fun of the fact that I fist bumped. There was some comfort in my world going, Howie, don't worry about it. Howie, the queen, she's fine. Howie, nobody is sick here. So when the whole world shut down, misery doesn't love company.
Right.
And I was in the most miserable place in the world, and it was this nightmare that I couldn't get out of. And the only way that I could possibly shut down was just to black out.
What do you think plants such a thing in your brain? Where does it begin? You say right from the beginning with you? Like, why? Why you? What got in your brain?
I'll tell you. I know exactly what got in my brain.
Really?
So, yes.
And
when? I'll tell you. OCD is the inability to, it's like a skipping record, right? Regardless of what the thought, somebody has to walk in a door, they have to tap the door 3 times, and they can't walk into a room, they tap it 3 times. My germophobia, I had OCD, but how it was going to affect me was molded by when I was 5 years old. I was in Miami, and I was sitting on the beach, and I got bit by a sandfly. And the sandfly laid its larva in my hand. I didn't know this. And I had like these mosquito bites when I went home, and they were really itchy. I remember being a little kid, and I would scratch the mosquito bite, and then I'd watch the mosquito bite crawl away under my arm. And then all over my body, I had these things growing under my skin, and they would scratch away. So my mom took me to a dermatologist. The dermatologist went fucking nuts. He goes, "This is great, and we're having an international dermatology convention this week. Can I bring your son?" And they brought me, I'll never forget this, they brought me, I was probably 5 or 6 years old. They brought me, and I was sitting in, it was kind of like, I guess it was a theater, and they put me on a gurney. They tied me down to the gurney. They took off my clothes. I'm standing there, lying there in my tighty whities. And the guy explains that we haven't seen this in humans before. This is cattle get this disease where sandflies lay their larvae under the skin. And the people are asking questions. What do you think you're going to do? He says, "I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get rid of them with liquid nitrogen." And they brought in a tank. Liquid nitrogen is like dry ice. It's like... It's crazy cold. I'm not a science major, but they freeze it, but essentially they burn it. I had no anesthesia or anything, and he starts dropping the liquid nitrogen on these bumps. And I remember a blood-curdling scream, and I look at my skin, it was sizzling, and these larva bumps were bubbling up, and they were blistering, like he was burning me alive. My mother screamed, ran up, ripped off the, they had me tied down so I wouldn't move under this thing, took me to the car and took me home, and it wouldn't take me to the doctor. And then every night, what my mom would do, we would pick one, and she took a dry, rough cloth. Every night, at first it started really good, felt good, and she would rub it and rub it and rub it and rub it until my skin would break and bleed, and the larva would come out. And it took a year to get them all. We would do one a night, and they were all gone. From that time on, I never wanted to touch anything. And that embedded in my mind.
I don't want to touch anything after hearing that story.
Sorry.
I know, no, it's just...
It's funny,
It's so harrowing. It's
traumatic.
Well, and also, yes, honestly, it's traumatic just listening to it. Because you realize that the littlest thing that you could not in any way prevent. So as a control freak, this makes my alarm bells go off. Because I guess I could prevent this if I never went on a beach, but that's not going to happen. I go on beaches, But it didn't have to be sand crabs or whatever it was. It could be anything that could happen tomorrow.
But I think the PTSD of it all is the fact, and maybe triggering my OCD, is the fact that if I shake your hand and I feel a little bit of sweat, then my mind goes to, there is something in my skin. There's something on my skin. There's something foreign there.
Right.
It's going to get in there. And it's kind of like if you go to war, if somebody slams a door, it's not a gunshot.
But again, I think this is still, we're describing this phenomenon of one part of your brain understands, it's the discussion we're having, and the other part, the lizard part, shall we call it?
Yes.
And I'm just wondering if there's a way to hypnotize you or something. So
I've tried everything. I've tried hypnosis.
I'm sure you have, of course.
And I've gone everywhere. That saying of ignorance being bliss is, it's true.
Right.
I wish I was ignorant. I wish I wasn't aware of who was around. I wish I didn't understand what happened to me when I was a child. I wish, and I do suffer. So when I hear you on television saying we don't want this happening to other people.
Right.
And the reference is the Howie Mandel. We don't want to raise that. And I feel this way, like when I have grandchildren now, and I was concerned.
What?
What do you mean?
It's just depressing that my friends now have grandchildren.
I've had grandchildren for years. I've been married for 42 years.
Me too.
No, you haven't.
If you've been on a video conference recently, you know that the experience can be awful. Slow video, people cutting out, and the worst part, trying to pretend to your boss that you give a shit about your job. That's where SignalWire comes in. SignalWire is a technology arsenal that allows developers to create better real-time video communication apps quickly, because that's what we need, more apps. SignalWire empowers developers to create more natural, real-time interactive experiences, and SignalWire provides developer-friendly APIs and SDKs to help you get your app up and running with a few clicks and a snippet of code, instead of months of complex development work. It's been the choice of TV and film studios for remote looping and audio recording because it does what other video tech simply can't do. Visit signalwire.com/random to sign up for a free account and receive an additional 5,000 video minutes for testing your app or integration. Go to signalwire.com/random. Get communications APIs from the OGs of software-defined telecom at SignalWire. Go to signalwire.com/random today. As the saying goes, where there's smoke, there's fire. But with a Solo Stove fire pit, there's a fire but no smoke. Which is great because life's best moments happen around a roaring fire, like making s'mores with my imaginary kids. I mean, you know, if I like kids, or s'mores. With Solo Stove, instead of having to constantly dodge campfire fumes, you can sit back, relax, and actually enjoy the fire. The smokeless design is so much more safe and more enjoyable. Because sometimes smoky fumes from a fire get in the way of me enjoying my other, preferred smoky fumes. The fires are easy to start, and there's no messy cleanup. And upgrade your backyard with the Solo Stove fire pit and create story-worthy moments without the fireside fumes. Solo Stove fire pits are brilliantly engineered to be easy to use, and they're built to last. It's easy to light with a few bits of starter. Your fire's blazing in minutes. They're so confident you'll love it, they offer a lifetime warranty and a 30-day free return policy. Right now, you can shop Solo Stove's best deals yet during their Memorial Day sale. And use promo code RANDOM at solostove.com for an extra $10 off. That's solostove.com, promo code RANDOM for $10 off on top of their incredible Memorial Day discounts. But hurry, the Memorial Day sale ends May 30th.
As a kid, I always dreamed that one day I'd grow up and I'd be invited into these, I'd have money and I'd be able to go into these clubs and into these places and see these places. I never dreamed that I would know somebody that builds these places in his own backyard.
I certainly didn't build this.
But you have it.
I have it. But I mean, it's not that impressive. It's just cool. But look, it's a little ratskeller. People call it a man cave. It's not a man cave. Man cave is for married guys.
I don't know
there's
who
a
you're...
fucking singing bass on the wall.
I'm telling you that
it's a cool little nightclub.
And everybody's going, wow. And you have, I'm not going to give away where you live, but there are acres out there. You have gardens. You have, explain to me
I'm telling you.
You have a trampoline. Why do you have a trampoline?
So what? A trampoline is very good for your health. The lymph system.
You're fucking with me.
I am not fucking with you. In fact,
the image, I'm not high, but the image of you alone on jumping up and down on the trampoline is really, I want to laugh. I'm laughing on the inside.
I do it every day, and this is the kind of thing that we can
Alone on a trampoline.
Alone on a trampoline, the Bill Maher story. How my career went
I have an image now.
Up and down, up and down.
But you're just standing there, not smiling. Nobody's there.
First of all,
it's good for the lymph glands.
It's fun. And, this is the kind of thing, I am healthier than most people in this country who, like you, laugh at me when I say things like that. Oh, you're so funny. I find it so interesting. Body positivity. Obesity, the most unhealthiest thing you can do.
But are you being serious?
But that's body positivity. But if you live very healthy, you're a health nut. Aaron Rodgers, he's a nut. Kyrie Irving, nut. Djokovic, these are nuts. But they're not nuts. And there is a very good reason why you would want to stimulate your lymph gland on a trampoline, because unlike the heart, the lymph does not have a pump.
Right.
And that motion is very good, and the lymph gland gets rid of toxic material. Maybe there is an answer to your problem that involves alternative thinking to just maybe there's a physical part of it. Maybe it involves the lymph gland. Maybe if you got on that trampoline, we would be having a completely different discussion.
Can I jump on it later?
No, you should jump on this idea. That's what you should jump on.
It's so weird. Everything you're saying makes so much sense.
It does.
But I saw that on the outside. I have to tell you that it went from a ridiculous image that I couldn't get out of my head to you just sold me.
I mean,
I'm going to go home now and I'm going to get a trampoline and I'm going to go, honey, I'm in the back.
Absolutely.
Are you being serious?
I am totally being serious.
Are you fucking with me?
I'm not fucking with you. The trampoline, it's look at it up on get your magic light box and Google it. It's
I'm gonna continue.
No.
What do I Google? I think you're fucking with me because I'll go out.
I mean, trampoline lymph. I would,
Trampoline. So people, because I asked everybody, what is that trampoline? They didn't know. Nobody said he does that for exercise.
Even if I just wanted to have it for Jimmy Kimmel to come over with the girls on trampoline
then
bed.
That makes sense. Then I wouldn't even laugh at that. That is, but the fact that you are going, I can't do the meeting now. I got a half hour of jumping to do.
It's not a half hour. It takes a minute.
1 minute of jumping a day?
Yes, that would be fine.
Trampoline lymph?
I think so. I think if it Googled
trampoline lymphatic system.
There you go.
Are you being bounce away lymphatic trampoline?
And
the health perfect for seniors? Old people should be on trampolines?
Yes, everybody should.
Look at this. The benefits of the Bellicon mini trampoline. Weight control, back pain, osteoporosis. I was making cardio, the immune system.
But
diet isn't even important.
But
we got to bounce to health.
Everything's important, but this certainly, you never, see, here's the thing. You never know exactly, because my big theme of medicine is that everyone overestimates how far we are along in understanding the human body. My view is that we're at the infancy. Just because we aren't as dumb as we were 100 years ago, we were just painfully dumb then, and now we're just we're very dumb.
So you think we're all going to die and you're going to be on your trampoline alone?
No, I don't think I can prevent my death either. But I'm just saying, as long as they can't figure your shit out, they can't figure cancer out. There's lots of stuff they haven't figured out. I'm not saying, hey, you dummies, why don't you get on it? I can't even approach the problem. It's not my area.
How did you know about that? Did your doctor tell you to do that?
It's not that hard to find information like that.
But I would never put lymphatic system and trampoline in the same search.
No, but if you had read one book on alternative medicine, you would have come across that.
Really?
Yes.
The trampoline, because I do read.
It's a major part of not major, but yes, but it's something that I've read it a million times in books that are talking about how can we get away from the pharmaceutical approach where everything is handled with either pharmaceutical or surgery. How can we keep ourselves healthy so we don't need these heroic incursions later in life? And at some point,
it's always just been the trampoline.
It's.
No, but the fact that it was there and we didn't know, the cure.
No, but I love the way you keep making this a great sketch by coming back to that. You're right. That's exactly how you make this a great sketch. You just keep coming back to every time I get all high and mighty, you're like, it's the fucking. So you read it, it's real, but you're still okay with mocking it because underneath you're the comedian and you see this is the comedic route.
But this is
that's you realize it's true, but the premise is too good.
Right, but a sense of humor is you can sense the humor in everything, in the darkness, in the reality, in information.
Right.
And my approach is always humor.
Okay.
Always. And sometimes it gets me in trouble because then you have a great sense of humor. The person that I'm talking to thinks that I'm belittling the idea.
Now let's talk about how good it is to put vegetables in your anus. That one I'm kidding. I just thought as long as I
was going to Google it.
As long as I've got you going.
You put a carrot in your ass because hindsight is 20/20.
Oh, you didn't just make that up.
I've never put a carrot in my ass.
Oh, that's such an amazing joke, though.
Oh, thank you.
Hindsight as is 20/20.
No, you're explaining it to me?
I mean,
I just said it.
I know, but that's you'd think that would take weeks.
I don't.
To come up. That's a great joke.
I'm not so funny around the house.
Carrot up my ass because hindsight. That's one of those where you're like,
Who would call me now?
Certainly. Certainly.
I'm gonna. I don't know who it is.
I know who it is.
You do?
It's the people who make trampolines. I gave them your number.
You know that
I think
as much as I'm making fun of this, you know that I'm going to have a trampoline in my backyard tomorrow. I am so neurotic about looking for, and I'm open to anything. I'm open to almost anything.
Am I saying this is going to cure you? Of course not. But
one less thing, I'm not going to worry about my lymphatic system.
Your lymphatic system is so important.
I know.
And
people underplay our lymphatic system. In fact, when they say, how are you? When the average person comes up to you and says, how are you? They're not even concerned about your lymphatic system. Stop calling.
Okay, can't you? Do you know how to turn it on?
No, I don't know how to. There.
That's the problem. People don't know how to turn their phone on.
Okay.
But
I had it on because you weren't here when this started.
I was like right on time, wasn't I?
No. You had people. This is your house.
Okay.
And I heard people yelling outside.
So
do you have Bill?
Okay.
Does anybody have Bill?
So Mike went 10 minutes over. 10 minutes. This is show business. That's not that bad.
No, I don't mind waiting.
And then I was 5 minutes. Well,
I was neurotic. I thought it was a joke on me. I was sitting here. There's cameras. There's lights. I thought you were going to do something to me. I felt I was going to be left alone. I always feel like there's a joke on me.
Well,
I always feel like people are fucking with me.
Is that right?
I do.
Yes, of course. You thought I was with the limp thing.
I always think it. I didn't have a friend in the world as a kid. And I just think that people were always, they're either fucking with me or they're yelling at me or they're mad at me.
But, Howie, I have, like, even if I was a bad person, I have no reason to fuck with you. Nor would I, out of respect. Even if I didn't think you were a tremendous talent and, you know.
Thank you.
Like, we started around the same time.
We did.
And,
what year did you start?
79.
I started 77.
But we're the same age, so it's basically the same thing.
Right.
And like, it's a little like being in the Army where you go into battle and a lot of guys get killed.
Right.
And, we're like two guys who made it through the battle.
I think we're just heading into it now. Don't you feel
the
that?
battle of like show business.
I feel like we're just heading into a battle. Well, we're both doing fine.
We're still working.
That's what I mean.
We're in show business.
We're communicating, right?
We succeeded.
Yeah. We can afford a trampoline.
Okay. Well, a lot of guys didn't. I'm just saying.
They gave up.
Well, there's a million reasons why it doesn't happen. And a lot of it is luck. Sometimes you're just lucky, and there are some very talented people who just were sort of in the wrong era or the wrong place at the wrong time.
And then where did they go? They stopped.
Well, they did something else, but they could have
stopped. You didn't stop.
Well,
don't you think that's what it is? I always think the difference between somebody who is...
Come on, I'm trying to be nice to the losers. No, I'm kidding.
But I'm thinking...
But it's true. Luck is an element. It is absolutely an element.
In everything we do. The fact that you cross the street and you don't get hit by a car is luck.
Well, it's a complete luck.
No.
Fluke, wealth. Like, what makes a person wealthy?
Wealthy, you're talking about financially?
Yes.
Like, you think that's luck?
Well,
I don't.
If you're born with rich parents, that's luck. That's how you were born. If you can throw a baseball 100 miles an hour, you can make a lot of money. That would not have made you a lot of money in 1780. That was lucky.
You're right. You're born at the right time.
It's fluke. I mean, look at us. We did very well.
But isn't it...
Because why? We are jokesters?
Yes.
You're right.
No, but yes.
Well, there was a time when that would not have paid very well.
But you know what but here's what I always say about success is most people in life, our philosophy in life, I always talk about this, at hump day, you always hear them advertise hump day. Well, here at this Call Brandon, I would imagine that's every other day when you're not on the trampoline. But the connotation is Wednesday. You're halfway through a week of just trotting along in this shithole of a job, doing what you don't want to do, to maybe, hopefully, the brightest spot is to get to the weekend to just not do the shit you don't want to do, but not do anything. Most people don't wake up in the morning excited about something to do. Even if that something is even a stamp collection. Nobody has passion about anything. Most people don't.
No.
You're supposed to go to school, you get a job, you pay the rent, you get married, you have kids, It's not fun. That's what you do.
That's the difference between a job and a career. A
Right.
job, you don't enjoy it. You're just doing it. A career,
But it doesn't even have to be a career. I swear
lucky.
to you that I would be, I don't sound like a happy guy, but I feel happy. There are portions of my life that are very satisfying, and one of them is comedy. And when I found comedy by accident, April 19th, 1977, Yuck Yucks in Toronto, I got dared to go on that stage. And I had never been on stage before. I didn't aspire to be a comedian. I didn't aspire to be in show business. I didn't want to do it. I also have ADHD. One of the effects of ADHD is you don't think of ramifications. You just act out or react to. And I said, okay. And thinking that the joke would be, I didn't prepare, thinking the joke would be, they'd go, ladies and gentlemen, Howie Mandel. And my two people that I knew in the audience would laugh that I got introduced. Why the fuck am I being introduced? I'm not a comic. And I went on stage. They went, ladies and gentlemen, Howie Mandel. And I walked on the stage. And then I realized this is not a joke. And I'm standing there by the mic. And I see the lights. And terror just dripped through me. And it was just terrified. And I'm looking at all these strangers. And I started going, and if you look at all my old YouTube videos, you look at all, I started going, okay, all right, what? Oh, okay. And my fear, people started giggling at my fear.
So
That's me.
The origin.
The origin of everything. And I'm going, okay. And they started giggling at my fear. And then I started going, what? Okay, all right. And I put my hands in my pocket. And in my pocket, I had rubber gloves because if I'm out in public...
The first time you had the rubber gloves?
Yeah, because I go to public bathrooms. I didn't want to touch anything.
Whoa!
So
of course!
Yeah, so I take a rubber glove. I don't know what to do. I
now
go, okay.
It's all making sense
I
in
go,
this
okay.
movie.
And I just pulled it over my head. I couldn't think of what to do. I just want to fucking die. I wanted to hide. And I pull it over my nose and I'm breathing. The fingers are going up and the audience is going crazy. And I pop it off. I blow it up and I pop it off my head. And I heard them all applaud. I went, good night. And I ran. And Mark Breslin, who owns the club, says, you've got to come back tomorrow night. And I go, to do what? He goes, do what you did. And I go, what the fuck did I do? He goes, no, it was great. And I started going there. And it was the first time in my life where I got enveloped by, I never felt a room full of people like enjoying my presence. I never felt like just to be enveloped in laughter and joy. And I promise you, if I was a janitor today, if one time a week I could go show up at a club and be embraced by an audience, to me, I don't care about notoriety or how much money I have.
Laughter doesn't have to physically touch you. That's why it's great for you. What?
It really is.
It is.
It is.
It doesn't fit.
But it touches me without
touching me. Of course,
touching
but not physically.
You're right. I never even thought of that.
That's it.
So that's like this visceral embrace that I always am looking for. Now...
That's your breakthrough.
It is.
I'm sorry, our time's up.
No, and now it's harder than ever. Now, and I swear to you, I want to be once a week, but now I have a fear.
But the part of your brain that can still fucking think, I mean, it must recognize that you have stayed on television for, the American public doesn't keep people around on TV in various forms for decades unless they like them. They just like them.
But I think
you
might disagree with me.
They even like me.
I don't. They
that
love you.
shows how far the taste can go.
But it's because you enjoy what you do.
Of course.
And you're incredibly authentic to what you do. And you're not a people pleaser as much as you're a bill pleaser. And it just so happens...
Which makes me a people pleaser. Right. To the right people.
Right. But people can smell...
Not the wrong people.
But there's always more people that don't like. I've told this story so many times.
I don't care about them. The people that don't like you?
But I become aware,
You can't.
In the 80s when I hit hard...
Because then you'll piss off the people who do like you.
Right. But I tell this story many times. When I hit, after I did my first HBO special, I sold out Radio City Music Hall 2 shows in one night.
Wow.
In the 80s.
Yes, I remember when you were a sensation.
I was. Not anymore, but I was.
No, now you're just sensational.
Right.
But you only get to be a sensation once.
Right. So but I sold it out, and I remember, I'm a putz from Toronto, and 7,000 people were teaming out onto 7th Avenue or wherever the Radio City is in between shows, and 7,000 people were coming in, and I'm in the dressing room, and my wife and I are looking out the window in Manhattan. And you know, there's 14,000 people in the street going in and out. There's stanchions and there's cops and my wife goes, "This is all for you. This is all for, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? I mean, this is not even a dream you had. It was just years ago. Like at that time, it was like 7 or 8 years ago. You were a goofball selling carpet in Toronto. Like, what are you thinking?" And I said, "If you want to be honest, this is what I'm thinking, that this is a city of 10 million and 9,886,000 people don't give a fuck I'm here."
Well, that is certainly looking at the bong as half empty.
Yes, it is. But I'm always,
okay.
But there's always more people that don't agree with you, that don't like you, and I rest on that.
Let's not dwell on. That's cray-cray. Okay, you need
I'm not a happy guy.
you need the trampoline.
I do.
But let me ask you this. At that moment, when you're at the Paramount Theater like Frank Sinatra, and you look out the window, and there are all the Bobby Soxers lined up around the block to see you. Maybe I'm mixing these two stories up. But I know you're in a hotel. I know you're looking down on people. Not in a bad way, just they're
for measurement. Just height.
Right, and they're all there to see you. And you said you were there with your wife. On heart of hearts, did you think, "Oh boy, I wish I was single right now"? Because, I mean, you know.
No, I'll tell you. This is. You're not going to believe this. You're not going to believe this.
Germs. Groupies have germs.
I thought that.
It's that.
I thought that, but you want to know something? I've never been able to
get an erection.
It's a great game show. Just finish my sentences. No, I didn't want to fuck anybody that wanted to fuck me because I'm successful.
Oh, you definitely need my therapy.
Yeah,
you're going to have to come twice a week.
I will, but I didn't. I just wanted people to like me. I want somebody to like me. I don't want somebody to
you know what?
To want to fuck me because they saw me on TV acting like an idiot putting a glove on my head. That's never been. I really crave people to like me. Does that sound really weird?
No, that's common in show business. So I mean, I crave that. Nobody would be on the stage unless they crave people to like them. It depends on what you do with that. If it's like
I don't want to. But why would I want to fuck somebody just because they saw me on TV?
I don't know, but it's a very popular thing to do. I can't
here at Club Random.
I can't get just in the world over. I mean, people enjoy. Come on, don't make this about me. When people enjoy.
Wait. When I say fuck somebody just because they see you on TV, it's not only you.
Okay, all right.
You're not
That's
the
what
only.
I'm saying.
You made it about you.
No, I didn't. Look, when men, they're just scalawags, and so.
Are you a pirate? I haven't heard that term, scallywags.
Well, I was trying to.
Have you ever raped and pillaged?
You know what, Howie? A lot of children watch this podcast, and I want to clean it up for them.
Men are scallywags.
They are.
Enough of these shenanigans.
And so, so when they are presented with temptation from the opposite sex, or today the same sex or trans sex, I don't know, whatever sex is,
people on this podcast,
whatever sex is tempting to you, they have a predilection through history of being weak. They're weak.
I get being horny and just want to fuck. I get that, but there's something about. Yeah. I feel I don't want to feel that. Now I sound like I don't want to be used.
You don't want to be used.
I don't want to be used. I want you to like me if you're going to fuck me.
I don't mind being used. Just put me back where you found me. That's my policy.
Is that weird? I'm very old-fashioned. I guess I'm not a scallywag. No. I thought as one from. Have you ever used that outside of this? Like, have you ever said that just really serious to somebody? Or, Dave. That Dave is such a scallywag.
Well, you're saying, I think it's scallywag.
I did this first time I've heard it in a long time. It's scallywag?
I don't know.
I think scallywag is
I don't even know
Canadian.
what it is, and we could be canceled tomorrow for saying it. I have no
The
idea.
people of scallywag.
In today's atmosphere.
You want me to Google that? I've Googled.
No.
Okay.
No.
I
don't see you often. No phones.
No, I know, but the point is that I've never.
We'll find out
The
later.
fact that I've spent this much time with you, I've never had to Google so much stuff. lymphatic system on the trampoline, and a scallywag. And then if my wife looks through my history of what a scallywag and lymphatic, I was at Bill's. I was at Bill's. Why do you have trampolines, lymphatic system, and scallywag? Maher. It's Maher.
If that is the worst thing she finds on your phone, she's a very lucky woman because, husbands have horrible things on their browser history. I mean,
I don't have horrible things.
No, you don't.
Have you ever said, like, you're a single guy, I want to know, have you ever taken a dick pic?
No.
No. I can't imagine. Like, if I'm not single or anything, but I can't even imagine, like, because I live so much outside of myself. I can't imagine just so I don't know what, like, I wouldn't know how to light it. I don't know how to, like, where do you,
I don't know.
How do you even do that?
I'd have to hold it farther away, but that's just me.
I see what you did there.
But no, by the time they had dick pics on the phone, I was already old enough to know this is a stupid idea. And first of all, I don't think there's any woman in the world who ever wants, for almost any reason, to get a dick pic.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
It's so obvious to people who are older, but I guess when you're in your 20s, you think this is going to be just a winner. And it's amazing you could be that stupid, but I know people in their 20s are that stupid. And
people older than their 20s.
And the older than their 20s, absolutely.
Yes.
But not certainly by the time the phone was around. I just wouldn't be. That's just who I am.
I don't understand pictures.
It's just a
at all.
gross imposition kind of a thing to do, and it's egomaniacal.
It is.
And if you want someone to see it in person, don't send the picture. It's
hard to bring lighting with
it. It's a fundamental miscalculation of your core audience, which is women. That is your core audience you're trying to reach. It is a fundamental miscalculation of how that is going to be received.
But don't you think that the thought is this? The thought is, I want her to see my penis. No. But yes. That's what I want.
Right.
But I know here I have more control over lighting and angles.
Right.
So to bring, if you know you're going to drop your pants, you don't have to set up lighting, you don't have to change the lens, you don't have to do that.
Club Random is supported by ZipRecruiter. Certain people just make my life so much easier. I don't know what I'd do without them. There's my solar panel guy, Fred, and the nice lady at the dispensary, and my dog, psychologist, Helen. These are people I can't live without. If you own a growing business and need to hire people you can't live without, ZipRecruiter makes hiring so much easier because they do the work for you. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/random. ZipRecruiter uses its powerful technology to find and match the right candidates up with your job. You can easily review these recommended candidates and invite your top choices to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. No wonder ZipRecruiter is the #1 rated hiring site. In fact, the hardest thing you have to do is to remember our special URL, ZipRecruiter.com/random. That's where you go to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/random. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. Club Random is supported by Policy Genius. If someone relies on you financially, a child, a parent, even a business partner, or a mistress, life insurance gives you peace of mind that they have a financial cushion if something happens to you, no matter how awkward the funeral is going to be. And life insurance gets more expensive as you age, so it's smart to get a policy sooner rather than later. By making it easy to compare your options from top companies, Policy Genius makes sure you're not paying a cent more for the coverage you need. Whether you're graduating from school, planning a wedding, welcoming a baby, which could be why you're planning that wedding, now's the time to protect your family's finances. Here's how it works. Click the link in the description or head to policygenius.com/random to get started. Compare personalized quotes instantly. You could save 50% or more on life insurance by comparing quotes with Policy Genius. The licensed agents who work for you, not the insurance companies, are there to help you understand your options and make decisions with confidence. Head to policygenius.com/random to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you could save. Did you know HBO Max had podcasts? I'm on my podcast talking about the podcasts on my network. This must be what the metaverse feels like. Now go even deeper inside your favorite shows with audio companions to some of the most groundbreaking and award-winning shows on television. The HBO Max series Hacks is back. Oh, good, with a new season and a new companion podcast. In each episode, Hacks creators Lucia Aniello, Paul W. Downs, and Jen Statsky will be joined by a special guest host like Hannah Einbinder, Darcy Carden, Susie Essman, and more. Unpack each episode of Deborah and Ava's hijinks. Listeners will hear stories from the show's writers, room, on-set, and the world of stand-up and entertainment that inspired the show. You can listen to the official Hacks podcast on HBO Max and wherever you get your podcasts.
I don't understand this is what makes me feel old. I don't understand pictures anyway. I mean, I don't understand the internet. Like everybody's you go into a restaurant and they serve food and you could look at any other table and they're taking pictures of their salad. You know, all this time.
Yeah.
When things were served to me years and years ago, when people didn't have the phone, I never heard anybody at the table going, "Oh my God, does anybody have a camera?"
No, I mean, that's a millennial cliche. I think there was a time when they did that more. I think it became such a joke that they don't do it as much anymore. But I mean,
it's everything.
You're bigger.
Every picture, selfies, everything.
Of course. No, but sweetheart, it is not just millennials. I mean,
Sweetheart? Sweetheart? Where do you get these references? It's better than Scallywag. Sweetheart. My mom doesn't even call me sweetheart.
I mean, like, everybody does it. People our age do the same thing. They always need a picture.
No.
I know plenty of people like that.
That's the thing I hate most. I don't like my picture taken.
No, I don't either. First of all, it's unnecessary. I can remember this. I have a memory, you know?
But who stands in front of the Eiffel Tower just still and smiles? Like, why does that, what are you capturing?
Right.
You're capturing, you don't do that in life.
You know what bugs me is like they tell the audience many times before when I'm doing stand-up on the road at the theater, don't take pictures. And then you walk out and there's people taking pictures. I mean, it's like, of course.
Well, I hate even that they record. I don't do it.
And recording would be even more outrageous because
you do
that's
what
your
Chappelle
act.
does? Do you put yours in the...
No. You put it in a bag?
Yeah.
No.
He owns that company, doesn't he? Yonder.
Oh, is that right?
I think he's an investor in that company.
Well, I mean, that to me is too much of an imposition on my audience to make them put their
Are you
phone.
scared now doing stand-up?
No, but you know what? I was always one of the more controversial type
Well, that's why I'm asking you.
No, I mean, like, look, you can't go through what I do scared, you know.
But do you not feel that, because I got to tell you, from the Academy Awards to what happened with Chappelle at the Hollywood Bowl, I'm rocked. And I'm rocked to the core I'm a scared person as it is anyway, and I worry anyway. No. You don't know who's out there, and
that's
you
a triggering
are even
thing.
more.
Yeah, no,
and I think violence triggers violence.
I can see that's a triggering thing for you.
So you don't think now that there has been a?
I mean, I don't know.
The dam has been busted or cracked.
Yes, I talked about it when Will Smith did it before this. You know, I mean, that this war on jokes must end, But even if it's a war on jokes, it was cancel culture. Now it is. Yes, I agree.
You can beat the shit out of the guy because I don't like the joke.
Yeah.
I told somebody today, when we got into the business in the 70s, the worst thing that would happen was somebody wouldn't laugh. You might get heckled.
Right.
Somebody will get up and walk out. Somebody will come up to you after the show and go, "What the fuck you saying that about my wife?"
If you open for a rock band, you could have stuff thrown at you to get you off the stage.
Right. It
Not
was more
usually
about
harmful, soft beer bottles.
But now it's right in your face.
Yeah. But the fundamental problem there, I think, is that the younger generation does not understand free speech. They were not taught free speech. They are so fucking spoiled and entitled. To them, not having a moment's discomfort with something that they don't agree with or that they find offensive or something, that so supersedes what we think of.
But it's not only the young
as
generation.
the most important thing, which is free speech.
Well, you want to know, I think you spoke about this many years ago. I did many years ago. And I think it's before we were all woke, I stopped going to colleges. Because
yes.
But you would think when we started in the business, You wanted to play the college.
And
just
I
because-
did in the 90s.
Right, and so did I.
Right.
And through the 80s, I
Yeah.
did a tour with Mike Binder and...
I'd do the show, and then I'd go to the frat party.
Right.
Like with the college kids.
Right, it was amazing, and I
was
would tour
fun.
every college. And then I think it was the '90s when, like the late '90s, when it started. They were the first group that said, you can't. I can't remember what it was, but you can't refer whatever we were referring to, whatever a culture was, whatever they were the first.
Well, everybody stopped playing them, even clean comics.
No,
I mean,
it was just a tough place.
Well, they just.
But that kind of seeped out into our whole world.
Yeah, a little bit.
That a little bit. People
Right.
are getting knocked down because you can't say this.
Yeah.
You can't say
No.
anything about somebody with
Trust me.
alopecia. You can't say anything
I've been
about
banging this drum for a long time.
right. But
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 and
that is
there are
that's-
people who will literally take the side that, oh, come on, there isn't really cancel culture. Really? Just among comedians. I mean, our dear recently departed friend Gilbert Gottfried,
Oh my God!
he got canceled.
For a joke on Twitter.
Many jokes.
But
That's who he was.
But that's what comedy is. Comedy is
Kathy
about provoking.
Griffin. I could go through it. Louis. I mean, there's a long list. Roseanne. No, I'm not talking about. I'm talking about just. And there's a smaller list, but still Aziz, of people who are canceled, not even for behavior, just because.
They were accused.
Well, or just we don't like the joke.
Right.
Kathy Griffin, we don't like that joke. I mean, that was from the right.
Right. But I talk about this all the time. One of the highlights of my entire career was coming out here you said you started in 79. Were you out here?
No, New York.
Okay, so I was out here in 79 or 78, and Richard Pryor was going on at the Comedy Store every night, cobbling together live at the Sunset
Oh, I
Strip, which are
remember.
the seminal...
Yeah.
He kind of taught me. I hold him in such reverence. I watched him every night because I'd never seen anybody really work an entire act from day one. And at that time, the context is different. He was talking about Christ, and he was talking about drug use, and he was talking about he was standing on stage bandaged from being burned from
So it was
freebasing.
Right.
No, but and he started making jokes about that, and people were uncomfortable about that. And I watched him go over the line and back and over the line and back. But it was the safety of the
Right.
comedy club, and people understood that it was in the context of him trying to go ahead.
When you say over the line, when he shot it as a movie, right?
Right.
Did he reel that back in? In other words, he edited out what you
edited
saw as over the line?
He edited out.
So there was a line even for him that was too far.
I don't know if it was too far as just
didn't work.
get a laugh.
Yeah.
It didn't work. And my analogy to this is, it's an art form. The ability to kind of cobble together words and thoughts to touch other people's
That's my
sense of
story,
humor.
and I'm sticking with it.
Right. And if you kind of use the analogy the way painting is an art form, you need to take that canvas and you need to splash it with black. And with that black, you go, that's a little dark. I'm going to shade this and put this in red.
Right.
And then you create a whole picture. But if you're telling us we can't use the black paint because that's too dark and that's too far, how do I shade? How do I get to the point where there's humor? They're taking away our brushes. They're taking away our colors. They're taking away. There is really, in comedy, there's no such thing as too soon.
Right.
There's no such thing as too far.
Here.
No, but that's what, if you think of what we're saying, it's a sense of humor. If you gotta
Right.
find humor, and if you look at the two masks that are comedy and tragedy, there's really no difference. One has an upside down smile, and you have to find, and if you laugh, even if you're a kid, if you laugh, you go to the circus and you laugh, and you take your kid, and you laugh at a clown falling down, what are you laughing at? You're laughing at the misfortune of somebody you don't know with paint on their face
Right.
that maybe fell and hurt themselves. If you're telling a joke, the easiest joke, two guys walking to a bar, it's not a joke unless something horrible happens to one of them, something embarrassing happens.
Right.
All jokes come out of darkness.
Yes.
That's where humor is.
Most,
And
yes.
Every joke. You talk about an embarrassing moment. You talk
Well,
about how ridiculous something is in the news. You talk about it's not out of nice. Right?
Many jokes do come out of, yes, jokes come out of everything, but I take your
You
point.
think a joke? There is no joke rooted
So-
in just nice
Okay.
sunset.
I give.
There isn't.
I'm sure you could find some, because you could find humor in anything. A pun is not rooted in darkness, it's just rooted in two words sound alike. Anyway.
Okay, but so I think that
It's
the laugh
a
is
minor point. I take your point, life sucks, which is always your point.
It is my point.
Okay. I know
And in those moments, as somebody who suffers constantly, that laughter and humor and finding that little path out has been my bridge to sanity.
You should hang out with millennials,
Why?
because they're always sad too. They're always like, everything is anxiety, and I mean, I'm telling you, you get along perfectly.
Well, I would.
You're a millennial in an older man's body.
It's just too much going in. There's just too much.
So, how often do you do stand up? Never, ever.
Now I'm afraid. I do it a lot. I was up until COVID. I did
okay.
Up to 200 nights a year.
200?
I did.
What?
I was 100, 150.
Whoa!
I was always on the road. My office is right at Van Nuys Airport, so I would take off every night and go
And
play.
come back?
Come back. Yeah.
Wow, that's
this side of the Mississippi. If it's that side of the Mississippi,
Right.
then I'd stay in New York. But I was doing day. I was like
Oh,
Leno.
that's like Sinatra.
Leno and me. No, like Leno. Leno
No, but
and,
that's a baller move to like do it that way.
why?
Again, not great for the environment, but like again.
Oh, you mean fly private?
well,
I
isn't
would
that how you're doing it? You said you come back the same night.
Yeah.
Right.
What's the baller that I'm flying private?
Well, yeah.
It's the ability at this
Right.
age
No,
to,
I-
if I have to go through an airport and three
Sweetheart,
connecting
I'm the
flights,
same way.
sweetheart. That's bothering me.
I'm the same way. Scalawag, I'm the same way.
But you fly
But
private.
Absolutely.
So what? I don't understand your point.
I'm just saying, never mind. It doesn't matter. It's just, there's some guilt about it, but I'm over it.
I'm not guilty. I'm not. I
No.
don't. I'm not guilty about it. I go there and hopefully make a bunch of
No,
people happy.
exactly.
And
Right,
I make
right.
myself happy, and I'm
Yes,
able to.
exactly.
But I don't want to do it so much anymore. I'm afraid. I'm afraid
Right.
of.
But that's a crazy amount. I never did it that much.
Well, now I'm probably down to 30
Well, that's, I mean,
after COVID.
I'm from.
You're out
longest
almost every
time I've done-
weekend. I
No,
know you.
I'm not.
I
Like
see
fifth-
you. I've been
yeah.
always in Hawaii over Christmas, and I see you.
Hawaii,
and
yes. We got to do it together one year.
You know what?
Would
you
you?
want to know? I would love to. You want
you
to know what
booked
was
this-
really?
are
You want
you
to know what
booked
makes
this
me
year?
sad? You know what makes me sad? Maybe I'll do it this year.
Dude, Gilbert died.
So that's so you want to know
Gilbert
something?
was booked for that gig.
That's why I'm saying. That's what makes me sad.
would
Do you
you-
want to hear? I was on the phone with him when he got in the ambulance. I'm the last person to talk to Gilbert.
Oh.
And Dara called me.
That is
that
is fate, and I don't even believe in it. But if they get them on that show, that is fate. Really,
Is there a camera over there?
I hope so, because I just did a take.
Okay.
I'm just saying. Oh.
Dara called me when he went to the hospital, and he was in the hospital, and they put him into an induced coma. And she called me, and she said, "Howie, what do you think I should do?" Bill Maher's office just called me to make travel arrangements.
Yes.
This has been the light in our life. This is the one thing that Gilbert has been looking forward to doing.
Me too.
What should I do? And I said to her, don't say, you don't know what tomorrow brings. He could wake up, don't take that away, let him think about that. And then 2 days later, he passed. But that's what, you have no idea what joy you brought him. Just by offering him that gig, he was so looking forward to it.
I
It
was
is so
so
sad
lucky.
and so hard.
Yeah.
I was so heartbroken. I'm
Talk
hitting my
about
mic.
guys you've known for 40 years, but you don't really know. That's the other before.
Did you ever watch his documentary?
Yes. Before I did but I knew him from 40 years ago, from bringing
York.
him up at Catch a Rising Star.
Right.
We started at the same club in New
Yeah,
York.
that's where I
I
saw
brought him
him.
up every night, and we would sit in the back of the room and laugh our asses off, literalizing other people's acts. I mean, it was cruel. It was like a mockery of what we thought were comedians who were like not so great.
He was the best at that.
Right.
He was the best, and he could do their voices, and he could do their acts. And
So, but over the years, I've never really had a human conversation with him. It was all in comedics. It was all laughing. We would do bits, and right. We would just fall right into like making each other laugh by.
But that was his
with
joy.
the shorthand that comics know. I don't have to set this up. I can just go right to this, and then you'll.
But he.
But
was
I
the
thought
pure-
in Hawaii, maybe that's what would happen. That after 40
When
years,
he loved you. He wanted to do
and he
the
was
show.
older, and he was married and had kids, and maybe he and I would have a great conversation like we're having now. Or if it wasn't, then we just still have a great thing because he's hysterically funny.
There isn't anybody
But he's
that I've
dead.
ever
Can
been
you
around.
do it?
I feel like you're asking me to do the Aflac commercial.
I feel like this is one of
Right?
those. I don't know.
He got fired from Aflac. He
Right.
died. I don't want to take his job. I don't.
But this is like one of those things.
I'll be there. I'd love to jump up on stage.
In a
Where you do play every island?
we play Maui on the 30th, December 30th, and then
you do the
Honolulu, New Year's Eve.
always at the same place, right?
Always at the same place.
they love you there.
We can. I'll let you decide. We can fly back after the show on New Year's and be home at 9 a.m. January 1st, or we can stay over because I think the
No,
play.
I've already got reservations. I'm there.
Oh, you're already there.
I'm there, not playing. I'm in Hawaii. I'm always in Hawaii. The last time I was in Hawaii,
Please.
I always see.
Can I
all
put
the
your
people
name
you
on the
have.
bill?
Let me ask my.
I'll give you money.
Who
maybe
do you
not.
have this
Maybe not
time?
what you're.
Who do you have? No, it's not about money, but maybe I'll write off my jet there.
Oh, Wendy Liebman, who's
I
fantastic.
love Wendy.
Yes.
Is she okay? She was in a car accident
She was booked 5 years ago
and got in the car accident.
and couldn't do it that year. And now I said,
Oh my God!
you're
you
going
booked her 5 years ago. She got hit by a car
And
and
now
hospitalized.
Gilbert, I
You
know.
booked Gilbert. Gilbert died,
And Saget did it 2 years ago.
and he's dead. So no, I'm not gonna. No. The only thing I'll do that's even close to you, I'm staying home this Christmas on my fucking trampoline, getting my lymphatic system as healthy as possible. Are you fucking kidding me?
All right. I got to go work on my day job.
Oh, this is over? This is it? So what happened? You just leave, but you don't tell me this is over?
Just
and then I'm
leaving.
again, I started in the room
I'm
alone.
going to give you a big, wet, sloppy kiss.
No, and don't call me sweetheart anymore.
Because
I'm
I
happy.
feel like the
I'm-
way to get over your issue is by
I know,
just,
the queen.
No,
She made it. I've got so much weird information.
No.
You have no idea. And that's another thing. I have this
Well, come on,
incredible.
wasn't it fun?
This was so much fun. It really is. I do love you.
I love you too.
I do, and I think you're one of the brightest, funniest, most charming
And didn't
human
we
beings.
advance our relationship like more in
Yeah, we're
the
just
last-
two loving scallywags with healthy lymphatic systems. We didn't.
we hope.
You're in your backyard going. There's nothing cool about this. Going. 2 more minutes and those lymph glands. Why are you coughing?
Because you made me laugh, fool.
Okay, thanks. It's been nice talking to you.